Your car guy here, real quick. We're doing a BMW E36 front brakes. First things first, always safety. The car is lifted and supported on jack stands properly so that we don't have any risk of it falling and killing or maiming you. Secondly, you're going to remove the wheel using a 17mm lug socket. Your lug wrench that's in the back of the car will work fine if that's all you have. If you have a impact gun and a 17mm, it makes it very quick and easy to remove the wheel. Next step, there's two bolts that hold the calipers in back at the rear. They're inset. Now these are an Allen head bolt, and it is a 7mm Allen head. So if you don't have a 7mm Allen head, you're going to need to get one. To access the bolt, there is a small plug that you just pull right out of that slot. Then you can take and stick in your ratchet, break loose those Allen bolts, and take them out. Once your Allen bolts are out, you'll be able to take this retaining spring off. You can even take it off before. It's just a matter of prying it out. Pops right out. That keeps the pads nice and tight, and so it reduces noise here. Get your Allen bolts out, then you can just pry loose this caliper. All right, we've got our bolts backed all the way out. One thing that helps to relieve some of the pressure on the brake system is take and put a screwdriver or pry bar in here and just very gently pull towards you. What this is going to do is this is going to actually start compressing the cylinder, the piston in the brake caliper ahead of time. You don't want to pull too hard, you don't want to damage the rotor, but what that does then is it makes it so that this is nice and free and comes off very easily to get your caliper out of the way. Then we can take our pads off. See how nice and worn these ones are. Not much left. One thing you'll notice on these BMW E36 is they have a wear sensing sensor here in the pad. The way that is, there's a slot in the top of the pad that just drops down into. You can simply pry it straight towards the top. So this direction to pry it out. Don't pull it this way, you'll break it off. Normally, you may need to buy a new sensor, especially if it's been worn in. If the sensor has made contact with the brake rotor and it's got some wear on this sensor face, it's a good idea to replace this sensor. You'll find the sensors on the left front and on the right rear of these cars. Okay, now we need to compress that piston fully. The way we do that is with a C-clamp. You can see I've left the brake pad in here so that I've got something to press against, and I can take my C-clamp and I'll just screw it down and press that cylinder back in. And there is our fully compressed piston. You can see it's all the way back in, nice and flush. Keep an eye on, if you see the torn boot around here, you're probably going to need to replace the caliper, because that means there's probably some water and rust getting in here and the odds of the brake cylinder seizing up and causing braking issues. So pay attention to this. If the rubber's in good shape, they're usually good to reuse these. If it doesn't want to compress back in, that could be a sign that it's seized as well. Now we're going to put our new brake pads on. This is the inner brake pad. You'll see looks like a claw here. That's what goes and holds it inside the piston here. We just snap that in place. Okay. Then the outer one, we can just slide it right into the bracket right here and hold it in place. Then we're going to take our caliper and slide it right back over. Okay, now the only things that we have left to do is we can reconnect our brake pad sensor, wear sensor, into the new pad here, which we can slide it in. You can either do that before or after, but there's enough room to do it in here. And then we'll reattach our clip right here, screw our screws back in, put our plugs back in for the dust covers, keeps dirt out of there, and we'll be ready to go. Now that the bolts are back in, we've got our dust cover caps back on, it's time to put this clip back on. Now the key to this is you can get it up under the edges here and just kind of roll it in while putting this face in here. Put a little pressure on it and it'll snap right into place. Make sure that it seats all the way down, and there you are. We've done the brakes. Next thing you know, you're going to put your wheel back on, you're going to put your lug nuts on. Please torque your lug nuts to the factory specs if you have a torque wrench. If not, get them good and tight, maybe recheck them the next day and make sure that none of them have loosened up. Also, something to remember, Just because you put new brakes on now and you get in the car, don't just jump in the car and try to drive off. What you need to do is pump the brake pedal several times. This will push that piston back out and get it adjusted back to the rotor. Otherwise, what can happen is the first time you jump in, you put it in drive, you're holding the brake and the car starts rolling away on you and you're going, oh crap. Well, these haven't adjusted fully and you'd need to pump the brake. So pump the brake till you feel a good pedal before you go away. That'll adjust your brakes and you're ready to go. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share our videos, help us grow.